we understand that the military and the United States have been two very important influences on how the political process is played out in the Philippines. Now, how do both or either of these stand as far as the current presidency or vis-a-vis any attempts to change the status quo at the moment?
Well, yes, the former president, Gloria Arroyo, was very close to the Bush administration and practically gave the Bush administration everything that it wanted, including a free hand with special forces in the southern part of the country, where you have Muslim insurgency going on. With the new president, he's now in the United States, and in the last day or so, I think he and the other presidents from Southeast Asia met with Barack Obama. And to be honest, will there be a change? I don't think that he'll call for a reversal of what is called the Visiting Forces Agreement, which now allows U.S. troops to conduct military exercise in the Philippines. We have, in fact, urged him to do that, we've had this Visiting Forces Agreement, which is really meant to promote U.S. security, to use euphemism, objectives, and which really don't promote the security of the Philippines, and therefore that this really ought to be abrogated. I don't think he's going to do that at this point, but again, this is an area where we feel that we really must push very hard because otherwise the United States will continue to treat the Philippines in a hegemonic fashion.
And the situation in Mindanao, where there's been a long-standing insurgency, how is that at the moment?
Well, again, we're trying to promote our side, within the administration coalition. We're trying to push the president to really take the grievances of the Moro or Muslim peoples in the Philippines very seriously.
And what are those grievances?
Well, I mean, they've been treated as an internal colony. The Muslims, of their lands have been taken over, and basically they've been disadvantaged economically in so many ways that basically the Muslim population of the country both has had many of their lands taken away, and they've been converted into second-class citizens, and they've been, as a result, since the early 1970s, they've been waging a war.
Is it a war of independence?
Well, yeah, basically, I think you can call it that. There's a stalemate at present, and there have been efforts in the past to try to work out a solution in the form of some kind of semi-autonomous or autonomous area. These solutions have not really succeeded.
Does the left support a separate state in Mindanao, or does it look at a solution that's within the republic framework?
I think that the left has, in principle, parts of the left have in principle supported a separate state, but in reality they've tried to find some sort of a solution that would be would stop short of a separate state. There have been proposals for federalism. There have been proposals for a really autonomous region for the Moro Muslim peoples. But many of those have really not succeeded, mainly because of two things. One is the government has not really been serious. All that has guided the government so far has been, how do you use both force and diplomacy in order to derail the Moro people's struggle. I mean, that's putting it really bluntly. The second thing is the demographics of the situation. I think we've got to realize that the island of Mindanao used to be mainly populated by Muslims and indigenous people. And over the course of the 20th century, because of the land problem in the north, the policy of the governments has been to push the Christian population to Mindanao, which was painted as virgin territory.
In the 1980s, especially during the people's uprising against the dictatorship at that time, there seemed for a time a situation developing where the left, it appeared, would play a decisive role in Filipino politics. But somehow that has not really played out. What do you think really went wrong, and how do you see the left in the future in Philippines?
Well, yes, this is a difficult question because, well, during the many years of the Marcos dictatorship, especially at its height, it was the left was, together with the Moro people's, the Moro National Liberation Front, the Communist Party of the Philippines, the National Democratic Front, and the New People's Army, that were all linked together, you know, really formed the core of resistance to the dictatorship. But you know, in the late 1980s, when there rose an opportunity to be able to hold elections to oust the regime, the position of the left was to take a boycott the elections stand. Well, the elections went through, and the dynamics were such that it led to the ouster of Marcos. And the left was sort of left.
So they miscalculated.
They miscalculated, that's one thing. And as a result, many people began to question the basic premise, you know, that, you know, only through the armed struggle could you achieve change in the Philippines. The second thing that I think bothered many people was the human rights violations, in which there were internal purges carried out by the party of people who were suspected to be military informers, and it went out of control. And so, so the old left, the what we would call the Maoist left, lost momentum. And in the 1990s, you had new forces emerge. Some of them from this Maoist left and left it, others that were influenced by other social democratic traditions, and they formed a number of political parties. So the left has become more pluralistic in the Philippines. The dominant left is still what we would call the left that's associated with the Communist Party of the Philippines. But the other left groups, for instance, Akbayan, to which I'm affiliated, are, you know, are emerging as very important political forces in their own right. So if you ask me what is the future of the left, although the left at this point is divided, I am also confident, you know, that it's still the left that offers a strategically viable solution to the problems of the Filipino people. And my one hope is that we will be able to create a working unity among different forces on the left in order to be able to move, in order to be able to make the left, again, a very significant actor in Philippine politics.
And such an unity, you think, can include the CPP and the other left groups?
That is my hope, because I think that reality is you know, a very, very strong thing that that you must face, and I think reality is basically telling us that unless we get united on good principled platforms, that we will not really be able to maximize, our abilities to intervene constructively in Philippine politics.
Thank you very much, Walden, for talking to us. And I think that's a good note to end, that we do see a future in perhaps the left coming together in Philippines and shaping Philippine politics.
Thank you, Amir.
Thank you.